you don't like the weather, wait a day. It's not the end. It's not the end. If you can't believe all they talk about these days are politics, it's not the end. It's not the end. Jackson, no hands, baby. But this is the end. Why did the Zen monk not vacuum in the corners? She had no attachments. Okay. So fasten your seatbelt. We're going to go on a musical journey. Our message today, just coincidentally, happens to be an attitude of gratitude, which is your theme for the month. I love it when it works out that way. You've just entered a place of love, a dimension beyond time, a dimension beyond space, for you have entered the spiritual center zone. In the spiritual center zone, we follow a different set of phenomena than the common folk. In the common world, they are taught that if you have something and you share it and you give it away, you end up with less. But in the spiritual living zone, if you have something and you share it and give it away, we know you end up with more. Spoken like true religious scientists. Kind of like an ancient Aboriginal tool known as the boomerang. Ideally, the boomerang is supposed to come back to you, go out and come back to you. What do you call it if it doesn't come back? A stick. Thank you, Kira. Or broke, or lost. However, spiritual law is never a stick. It's always a boomerang. Whatever we put out comes back to us, often multiplied. Now, there's good news and not so good news. We're New Thought people. Let's start with the good stuff first. The boomerang principle works with love, money, and kindness. The not so good news. The boomerang principle works with anger, judgment, and prejudice. Whatever we put out comes back to us. And it's kind of a little bit of a misnomer, whatever we put out, because we're all part of the same mind. So we're not really putting out anything. We are putting into the group. And so I was one of those people when I found that out, because to me that sums up the law of attraction in 4 words. Love is a boomerang. There's thousands of books written about the law of attraction, but love is a boomerang. So I became hyper vigilant. I wanted to make sure I didn't have a thought, a word, or an action that wasn't pure. Anybody ever try that? How's that working for you? So we don't have to be that. We don't have to do every single thought, word, and action to be pure all the time. So I came up, well, actually, Spirit gave me a tool when I falter a bit. And this tool is called a gratitude. Let's say that together. A gratitude. Every time you think or say something kind of negative or complaining or resentful, you lower your vibration. You can raise it back up by doing 2 things that are positive around that. So let's try one, for example. Here's one. Oh, I can't believe it's so hot. Y'all probably don't have to say that too much here, but we in Orlando, Florida have to say it a lot. But you don't have to. When you complain about what is and the weather, you lower your vibration. So then you can say, and I'm grateful that my air conditioning is working. And I'm grateful I'm not in a blizzard. So you've done 2 positive things around what you complained about. You've actually raised your vibration higher than before the complaint. So we hope that you will. Here's another one. I can't believe that jerk cut me off. Anybody ever do that? And I'm grateful he didn't hit me. And I'm grateful I'm not in a car with her. I know how to push the feminist buttons. Okay.
And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. So you have the negative words or negative thoughts, and you go, and I'm grateful for this and grateful for that, and it just becomes a natural thing after a while.
Absolutely. So we're going to do a song called Love is a Boomerang.
And sometimes I'm not always ready or able to go right to gratitude. So it's really nice to have someone that can help me, like just start me with the gratitude. I just can't seem to get there right yet. So it's nice to have someone to help in those situations too.
So this is Love is a Boomerang. We hope you will sing along. 4 simple words.
Love is a boomerang.
Everybody sing with me.
Love is a boomerang.
You give it away and it comes right back.
Love is a boomerang.
Hear the words that set you free.
Love is a boomerang.
You give it away and it comes right back.
Love is a boomerang.
Everybody sing with me.
Love is a boomerang.
You give it away and it comes right back.
Love is a boomerang.
Everybody sing with me.
Love is a boomerang.
You give it away and it comes right back. Give it, listen everybody, to what's burning in my soul. Here's something you can use, gonna make you healthy, safe, and whole. You can read it in the Bible, it's in the golden rule. You don't need to go to the land down under to find this magic tool, because
Love is a boomerang.
so is money, so is kindness.
Love is a boomerang.
Ha! You give it away, it's gonna come right back.
Love is a boomerang.
So is anger, so is judgment.
Love is a boomerang.
If you give it away, it's gonna come right back. When you wake up in the morning, try a different attitude. Instead of drinking coffee, fill yourself with gratitude. Try loving everything you see, it'll change the way you live. There ain't no way to outgive God, I guarantee you this, because
Love is a boomerang.
so is money, so is kindness.
Love is a boomerang.
If you give it away, it's gonna come right back.
Love is a boomerang.
So is anger, so is judgment.
Love is a boomerang.
You give it away, it's gonna come right back.
Love is a boomerang.
I feel an old-fashioned revival coming down.
Love is a boomerang.
Woo, it's Prescott, Arizona, baby.
Love is a boomerang.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Oh, yeah?
Love is a boomerang.
Help me, Jesus. Woo!
Love is a boomerang.
So is money, so is kindness.
Love is a boomerang.
If you give it away, it's gonna come right back.
Love is a boomerang.
So is anger, so is judgment.
Love is a boomerang.
Give it away, it's gonna come right back. Give it away, it's gonna come right back. Can't give it away, because it comes right back. I feel the power in the house today. I grew up as a Pentecostal. And one of the things that I loved about getting into New Thought in the 80s was that it was not an exclusive religion, it was an inclusive philosophy. And so I could bring the things that I loved about my other spiritual paths into New Thought, into the science of mind, and I could use them and maybe bring a more empowered meaning to that. Now, one of the things that I missed when I first got into New Thought was some of the enthusiasm of the evangelical movement. And so when I became more and more into New Thought, I thought one day I will become a New Thought evangelist. Brothers and sisters of the congregation, we are here to raise consciousness. For we know there's only 2 emotions in the world we really need to be concerned with. The all-encompassing, everlasting emotion of love and its perceived opposite, fear. Now, when you're in a state of love, it's a heavenly experience. Thank you, sister. But when you're in a state of fear, it's like being in hell. Now, the science of mind does not believe in a place called hell. Can I get an amen? Because some of y'all would have been going for sure. But there is no place called hell, but there is a virtual hell, and it's the hell of fear-based thinking. And it's a fiery pit. I bet you Reverend Kathleen will never say fiery pit in this church again. So Angelina and I came here from Orlando, Florida with one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to love the hell out of you. Glory, glory. And one of the ways we're going to do this is invite Angelina to come up and tell a story, sing a song about the power of gratitude.
Yes. Years ago, I was at a Wendy's drive-thru because I love French fries. And you know, people tell me they're not really good for you, and I can't help it. I love them. I eat them. So anyway, I was at this Wendy's, and when I got to the window, I asked the young man, "How are you?" And he answered with, "I am grateful." And that so touched me because I'd not heard a response like that, especially from a teen. And it just really stayed with me because, you know, when you say it, it brings gratitude to you, but it also brings gratitude to the person that you say it to, because it really made me think, wow, I'm grateful too. So I encourage you the next time that someone asks, "How are you?" that you answer with, "I am grateful."
How are you? I'm grateful. You should see your faces. It's almost impossible to say, "I am grateful" without a smile. You can't go, "I am grateful." It makes you feel good. So yes, as often as you can do it, if somebody asks you, instead of saying fine, okay, say, "I am grateful." And even if there's weird stuff going on in your life, you can still be grateful for the multitude of things that are going beautifully in your life. You got a sore finger? What about the other 9 that are working? Something doesn't feel exactly great? What about the rest of your trillions of bodily functions that are working all right? So now, gratitude, to me, can take more consciousness even than love. I know the love is the greatest of all, but gratitude takes a deeper level of consciousness. And let me give you an example. I want you to think about a special person in your life. You've probably known them your whole life. They're probably in your family. They know where all your buttons are and love to push them. And I want to ask you a question about them. Do you love them? Boom, went right to love. Are you always grateful for them? Gratitude takes a deeper level of consciousness sometimes to bring up to gratefulness. There's a lot of different things you can be grateful for. The button pushers, they help make you the fabulous person you are because you have to become more forgiving. But here's an easy one. If you're around somebody, like let's say you go into a negative thought and you go, "Oh, I'm around so-and-so again." You have lowered your consciousness. They're still the same. You've brought yourself down by thinking negative things about them. Think about something positive and go, "Oh, I'm so grateful I don't spend more time with them." Don't say it out loud, but you'll feel better. You'll raise your consciousness up. So many years ago, I guess maybe around 2003, we had some work in Sedona, and then we had some work in Tucson. And we were in a hotel in Tucson, and Angelina started plucking around on her guitar, and she goes, "I feel so grateful, I feel so grateful." I said, "Well, why don't you sing about it?" She said, "I've never written a song before." I said, "Well, great. Everybody that ever did anything really great had never done it before. So you're in good company." I said, "Just sing what you're feeling." She was plucking around on a little Beethoven melody, and I said, "Just sing." And this is what came out. Thank you, Spirit, oh great Spirit, omnipresent in all things. I am grateful, oh so grateful for the blessings in my life. because we love you. Life.
Thank you. I'm going to do a real gratitude right now.
Okay.
Because I've been suffering with like allergies and elevation stuff.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah. And so I haven't always been grateful for things. So when I had that little thing go on, my thoughts are like, oh boy. So I am grateful for being in this beautiful country that has these beautiful mountains. And I'm grateful that I can still even sing when I have these situations. So.
So I would like to thank our wonderful hosts, Coco and David. Is this your first time at this center? Who just moved to Prescott recently, and I was talking to a friend of ours in Florida and said, oh, we're going to be heading to Prescott soon. And this was about a month or two ago, and they said, oh, you got to go see Coco and David. They just moved there. So they are hosting us for a while we're in town, and we really, really appreciate you. And this morning, David had a shirt with a man's face on it. And so I'm so grateful for this man that was on his shirt that we're going to do a little dedication to this wonderful man who was always consistent in my childhood. The adults in my childhood were not consistent at all, but this one adult man was. Boys and girls, are you ready to sing? It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Angelina and Armand's neighborhood. It's a special day. You may be wondering why my shoes don't match. It's because I'm a cross-dresser. Not really. I like to do things a little silly now and then to remind myself of the number one cause of premature aging and degenerative disease, taking yourself in life too. Exactly. We don't want to do any of that. So obviously I'm not a real doctor. I'm not a real physician. I'm a metaphysician. I actually never met a physician I didn't like, yes. So it's customary in our neighborhood to have a special word or phrase, and today's phrase is spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. Now, when I first started learning about spiritual mind treatments and affirmative prayer, I didn't get it. You know, a lot of times we get in a new thought, and it's so different than what we were taught that our left brain has a little trouble going. I thought, well, wait a second. You're praying because you ain't got it. You're affirming because you do got it. How can those two go together? And it took me a while to realize the power of affirming in advance what it is you desire and seeing its fruition coming true in God's perfect timing. So I became an affirmation junkie. You know the people that are in New Thought that have just gotten there maybe 2 weeks earlier. They get very zealous about everything right off the bat, and you'll see affirmations all over their house, and that was me. You'll see them on people's refrigerator. They'll say things like, don't ever go in here. You'll see them on the mirrors in the bathrooms, on the windows, everywhere. I spray painted my van, okay, in 1987. It said, think love, create peace, on the side of my van. I sprayed an entire drywall. I am complete in my home. Why? Because I didn't feel any of that. I wanted to feel my truth, and that's what's so beautiful about affirmations. They help you raise your consciousness when you might not quite be there. So somebody tells me one time, oh, what's with all these affirmations? And I said, look, it's important. I need to get the message out so Spirit knows what I want. And then I remember something from catechism. Angelina and I are both 3/4 Catholic. I remember something from catechism where they said, a Bible quote, Before we even ask, God already knows. And that reminded me, wait a second. These affirmations are not for God. God already knows what my desires are. God already knows the perfect timing, and God already knows which ones of them will actually evolve me or not. Spirit is so amazing. So I was like, well, what the heck am I doing the affirmations for? And Spirit said, so you can get into alignment with what I already know. I was like, yo, dude, you should write that down. That's good. So things began to be different. I started to realize what happens every time we do an affirmation. So I'll give you an example. I desire more abundance in all areas of my life. And God says, duh. Wouldn't an all-knowing being be in a state of duh all the time? I know that may sound a little flippant, but think about it. Dear God, I desire to attract my ideal romantic partner to share my love and my life and my ministry with. By the way, August 27th, 2000, I spoke and sang at Angelina's church. And the rest is herstory. So we're getting ready to have 19 years. So anyway, this idea of affirming. So Spirit said, duh. Where do you think you got the desire? Because the desires that are for our good and the good of all of humanity come from the part of us that is one with Spirit. It comes from our universal mind, that connected part. Even the word desire, if you take it apart, it's of the Father, desire. And I'm not talking about Father in a male energy way. I'm talking about a Father in a consciousness way. Even the word, you could even say, duh, sire. Okay, that other stuff was good. I know that was really okay. Okay, but anyway, so my prayers changed. See, this was my original prayer. Dear God, out there with whom I have no connection, you have all the stuff. I don't have enough of the stuff. Could you send me some stuff? Who learned to pray that way growing up? That's no, and guess what? That actually works. That does work. That's called grace. It's all about that grace, No, devil. But it does work. It does work. But it's not as effective a prayer as an affirmative prayer, as a spiritual mind treatment. So my prayers totally changed. Dear God, with whom I'm totally connected, you are in me, I am with you, we are one with all of humanity. Thank you for all my many blessings that I have. They are too abundant to name. Thank you for all of my desires coming true in the perfect timing for them to come true. I'm going to keep doing my affirmations, God, for me, so I can get as clear as possible. But I know you already know. And thank you for the things that I have prayed to happen that didn't happen. As Garth Brooks says, thank God for unanswered prayers. Now, I would bet for most of us here, we at one time made a prayer for life that didn't come true, and we're grateful. And that prayer was, may my first marriage last forever. Thank God. So, before we move to the next part of the service, we will finish with our talk with one simple question. How are you? And so it is. Thank you.